God says, something you lost is about to return in a way you never expected. These are not just words of comfort, they are a whisper from eternity. There are moments in life when your heart feels like an empty room echoing with memories. You remember what was, the love that slipped away, the opportunity that vanished, the peace you once carried but somehow lost along the way. You may have searched the horizon of your life for signs of restoration, but all you've seen so far are clouds and silence. Yet today, heaven speaks, something you lost is about to return. When God speaks of return, He does not mean a simple repetition of the past. What is coming back will not be what was, it will be transformed, renewed, glorified. God does not recycle, He resurrects. What left your life may have seemed final, but in His hands, endings are not endings at all, they are seeds waiting to bloom in another season. You might have lost time. You might have lost faith. You might have lost yourself. But God never loses what belongs to Him. The Father counts every tear, every silent prayer, every disappointment that tried to bury your spirit. Nothing you have gone through is wasted. Heaven has been shaping what you lost into something better than what you imagined. God does not restore in the same form. He restores in divine order, in a way that heals the heart, teaches the soul, and glorifies His purpose. The return will surprise you because it will not come from the direction you expect. It will not arrive through the person you hoped for or the circumstance you prayed to revisit. It will come through divine creativity, an unexpected encounter, a sudden open door, a new beginning rising quietly from what once felt like ruin. When God says something is returning, He is not speaking about nostalgia, He is speaking about destiny. What you thought was over has simply been waiting for divine timing. The reason it left your hands was so that God could refine it in His. He does not let go of what is meant for you, He perfects it, even in your absence. That's why you must not mourn too long over what is gone. Your loss may have been real, but it was never final. There are seasons in which God hides blessings in disguise. The job you lost, the relationship that ended, the door that closed, those were not punishments, they were redirections. God had to move something out of your path so that you would learn to depend on His plan, not your preferences. The return will not just fill the space that was empty, it will redefine the meaning of abundance in your life. You see, divine return is not about getting back what you had, it's about becoming who you were always meant to be. The miracle is not that the thing comes back, but that you are transformed enough to receive it differently. When restoration meets readiness, blessings take root. What left when you were broken will return when you are whole. God says, I have seen what was taken from you. I have seen what hurt you. I have seen how you tried to stay strong even when you were tired of pretending. I am not blind to your pain. But I have been preparing a return that will not just restore, it will multiply. When God restores, He doesn't give back the same measure. He gives back in overflow. You might not even recognize it at first because it will come wrapped in surprise. You may think it's something small, something ordinary, but it will unfold into something sacred. The moment you let go of how you expected it to return, you make room for how God intends it to return. Some things cannot come back to you in their old form because you have outgrown that level of grace. You have evolved, and your spirit has matured through the fire of loss. The version of you that existed before the heartbreak, before the disappointment, before the confusion, that version could not carry the new blessing that is coming. So God allowed loss to be the doorway to your next dimension. You may have thought the silence meant God forgot. But the silence was the sound of preparation. Heaven is never inactive, it's always arranging what your eyes cannot yet see. Every delay, every detour, every unanswered prayer was not denial, it was divine design. The timing of your return has been set in eternity, and now the clock of heaven is striking your name. There will be a moment soon when you'll look around and realize that what you thought was lost has found its way back to you, not through your striving, but through grace. It may come as peace where there was once anxiety. It may come as joy where there was once sorrow. It may come as a new relationship that carries the lessons of the old without the pain. It may come as an opportunity that restores years of waiting. Whatever form it takes, you will know it is from God because it will fit your soul, not your fear. So lift your eyes again. Don't look for the same thing, look for a greater thing. Don't pray for the old blessing, prepare for the new one. The God who spoke galaxies into existence is whispering to your heart today, something you lost is about to return in a way you never expected. He is not a man that he should lie. His word does not return void. If he said it, he will do it. If he promised, he will perform. Trust the process even when the promise feels distant. Remember, your faith is the invitation for divine return. When you believe again, you create spiritual permission for what you lost to find its way home. Faith is the bridge between what you've prayed for and what you'll soon hold. God has not forgotten what He promised. The pages of your life are still being written, and this next chapter carries redemption inked by His hand. The lost is not gone, it's on its way. The broken is not wasted, it's being rebuilt. The silence is not emptiness, it's incubation. Something beautiful is forming, quietly, perfectly, faithfully. And when it arrives, you will see why it took time, why it left, and why it had to return differently. You will stand in awe and whisper, now I understand. God was never late, He was preparing me. So breathe again. Hope again. Believe again. Because heaven is speaking a word that will not fail. Something you lost is about to return in a way you never expected. There is a sacred rhythm to divine restoration. God does not rush what He rebuilds, for the best things are not born in haste, they are formed in holy timing. Many people lose faith because they confuse delay with denial. They think silence means abandonment. But in heaven's language, silence often means preparation. The potter does not speak while shaping the clay. The artist is quiet when painting the masterpiece. Likewise, God is not absent, He is designing. When something precious leaves your life, you feel the ache of absence. But absence has a purpose. It reveals how deeply you depended on what was temporary. Sometimes, God allows loss to detach your heart from things that cannot carry your destiny. He does not remove to hurt, He removes to heal. He knows that if you kept what you lost, it might have become an idol, something that stood in the way of your deeper walk with Him. So he prunes, and pruning always feels like pain before it feels like progress. There are moments when you pray for restoration, and instead of receiving what you expected, you receive stillness. That stillness is not punishment, it's alignment. God is aligning you with the frequency of your next blessing. You cannot rush divine orchestration. If He brought the return too soon, your heart would not be ready to receive it properly. So He waits, and while He waits, He works. You may not see His hands, but you will soon see His results. God says, "Do not be afraid of the space between loss and return. That space is where I do my deepest work in you. You may feel empty, but I am filling you with new strength, new wisdom, new faith. When the return comes, you will be able to hold it without fear of losing it again." There is beauty in the process. It is in the waiting that your roots go deeper. It is in the silence that you learn to hear His still small voice. It is in the loss that you discover how unshakable His love really is. You thought you were losing something important, but God was teaching you that you already have everything you need in Him. Once you realize that truth, nothing the world takes away can truly harm you again. Something you lost is not gone forever, it is simply being reborn in another form. When a seed falls to the ground, it must disappear before it multiplies. You may not recognize what's happening beneath the soil, but that's where miracles begin. The seed dies to become a tree. What was buried will soon rise again, stronger, fuller, and more fruitful than before. That's what God is doing with what you lost, transforming it in secret, so that when it reappears, it blesses you beyond measure. Sometimes, the loss of one thing is the birth of another. You may have lost a job, but gained direction. You may have lost a relationship, but gained clarity. You may have lost confidence, but gained faith. What if what you thought was subtraction was actually multiplication in disguise? God's math is not like ours. He removes to add, He empties to fill, He breaks to rebuild. What feels like decline is often divine redirection. Every great return in Scripture followed a season of loss. Joseph lost his freedom before he was raised to power. Job lost everything before he received double. The prodigal son lost his way before he found the Father's embrace. Even Jesus went into the tomb before the resurrection. Loss is not the end of the story, it's the setup for glory. The same God who restored them will restore you, not because you deserve it, but because His mercy delights in mending broken things. You may ask, why does God allow me to lose in the first place? The answer is both tender and profound, so you can learn to love Him for who He is, not just for what He gives. When you still praise Him in pain, still trust Him in confusion, still worship Him when everything is stripped away, you are proving that your faith is genuine. That kind of faith cannot be shaken, because it is anchored in eternity. God says, "You thought you were being broken, but I was building you. You thought I was taking from you, but I was training you. You thought I was silent, but I was speaking in a language your spirit would later understand." There will come a day when what you lost will stand before you again, transformed by grace. And when it does, you will realize that the waiting was worth it. You will no longer cry over what was lost, you will rejoice over what has returned. The pain you once cursed will become the very soil that grew your miracle. Do not let bitterness block your blessing. Many people miss their return because they are still holding anger toward the loss. Release it. Forgive the person, forgive the situation, forgive yourself. Let grace wash the dust off your heart. You cannot receive new things with clenched fists. Open your hands. Let go of what hurt you, so that what's meant for you can find you. The moment you release the past, heaven releases the future. There is something sacred about surrender. It is the key that unlocks divine restoration. When you finally stop trying to fix what only God can fix, you make room for Him to move. Sometimes, the hardest thing is to wait, not passively, but faithfully. To stand still and say, Lord, even if I never see what I lost again, I will still trust you. That's when heaven smiles. Because faith like that moves mountains, opens doors, and summons miracles. You may feel like too much time has passed, like the window for restoration has closed. But time does not limit the Eternal One. He created time, He is not confined by it. He can redeem years in a moment. One divine encounter can restore a decade of loss. One word from His mouth can reverse what looked irreversible. When He says, something you lost is about to return, He means exactly that, and no force in hell can stop it. You will know it's God because it will come with peace. It will not require manipulation or chasing. It will find you when you least expect it, maybe through a conversation, an opportunity, or even a quiet inner revelation that changes everything. The return will not be chaotic, it will be calm. It will not bring confusion, it will bring confirmation. You will not have to force it, because grace never needs to be forced. So stay faithful in the in-between. Keep praising. Keep believing. Keep preparing your heart, because the promise is on its way. The God who began a good work in you will finish it. Nothing is too broken for Him to restore. Not you, not your family, not your dreams. Every scar is a reminder that you survived what was meant to destroy you, and that means you are ready to receive what's coming. There's a whisper moving through your spirit now, quiet, tender, unmistakable, child, I am bringing back what you thought was gone. I am turning the pages of your story toward restoration. You have wept long enough. You have waited long enough. The season of returning is at hand. And when it happens, it will not just restore your faith, it will make others believe, too. People who saw your loss will witness your comeback. Those who doubted your strength will see God's strength in you. What you lost will return as testimony. What was broken will return as blessing. What was taken will return as triumph. Because that's how God works. He writes victory into the very lines that once spelled pain. He takes what the enemy meant for harm and transforms it into healing. He turns tears into testimonies, scars into stories, endings into beginnings. The same God who watched it leave is now sending it back, better, stronger, and more beautiful than before. Sometimes what hurts the most is not what you lost, but how suddenly it was taken. You didn't see it coming, the change, the ending, the goodbye that broke your heart. You prayed for things to stay the same, but God allowed them to shift. At the time, you could not understand why. But heaven never removes something unless it's making space for something higher. What left was not meant to destroy you, it was meant to develop you. God does not work according to your comfort, He works according to your calling. You were made for growth, and growth often requires disruption. The very thing that left your life may have been the thing holding you back from your next level. It's not easy to see it that way in the moment. Pain blinds you. Grief makes you forget that God still holds your future. But the Spirit whispers quietly, trust me. What you lost is not gone, it's being transformed. There is a moment in every believer's life when faith becomes more than a word, it becomes a lifeline. You hold on to God not because you understand Him, but because you know He understands you. You may not see what He is doing, but you feel His presence in the waiting. That presence is proof that He's not finished. When you sense that quiet peace that doesn't make sense, that's heaven's way of saying, I'm still here. I'm working behind the scenes. God says, what you lost had to go so that I could make room for what's coming. I am the God who restores not only what was lost but also what was broken in you during the loss. I will bring back what you need, and I will heal what you didn't know was wounded. When you walk with God long enough, you learn that every loss carries hidden mercy. Sometimes, mercy looks like removal. Sometimes, love looks like letting go. God is too wise to let you settle for less than His plan. You may have prayed for Him to bless what was fading, but He knew it could not hold your destiny. So He let it slip away, not because He wanted to hurt you, but because He wanted to grow you. If you had not lost, you might never have learned how to lean on Him. If you had not wept, you might never have found the depth of His comfort. If you had not been broken, you might never have discovered that His grace is enough. Pain introduced you to a strength you didn't know you had, and that strength is now preparing you for the return. Every return from God comes with a revelation, not just of His power, but of His heart. He doesn't only want to restore what was taken from you, He wants to draw you closer to Himself in the process. The true blessing is not the thing that returns, it's the faith you gain along the way. You will come to realize that the return was never about getting something back, but about becoming someone new. There is something sacred about the moment when you finally stop asking, why, and start saying, thank you. Gratitude shifts the atmosphere. It opens doors that complaining keeps closed. When you thank God for what He's doing, even when you don't understand it, you are declaring that your trust in Him is greater than your pain. And that kind of trust moves heaven. You may not realize it, but your faith is already rebuilding what you lost. Every prayer, every tear, every word of hope is constructing a bridge between your now and your next. The angels are working even as you wait. God is rewriting the story. What was once your greatest sorrow will soon become your greatest song. God says, I have seen the nights you could not sleep. I have heard the prayers you were too tired to say out loud. I have felt every ache in your heart. And I am turning those tears into testimony. I am preparing a return that will make you forget the pain of loss. You may think that's impossible, that the wound is too deep, the damage too great, but God specializes in impossible. He does not restore things halfway. He restores completely. When He gives back, He gives abundantly. The peace He sends will cover every scar. The joy that returns will replace every shadow. You will wake up one day and realize that you are smiling again, not because everything is perfect, but because everything is finally in God's hands. And when it happens, it will happen suddenly. The return will come in a way that leaves no doubt it was God. You won't need to question it, chase it, or control it. It will flow naturally, because it will be divinely timed. Just as seasons shift without struggle, your life will move into restoration with ease. You will step into a new day and realize that what was missing has found its way home, different, yes, but better. So do not despise the waiting. Do not resent the process. God is building something eternal within you. Every delay is part of the design. Every disappointment is part of the blueprint. When the return comes, you will look back and say, "Now I see. Now I understand why it had to be this way." You will see that nothing was wasted, not even the pain. Faith means trusting that God can turn even your losses into lessons. It means believing that what you lost will not define you, but refine you. It means resting in the truth that your life is not in pieces, it is in progress. Every broken part is being rearranged by hands that never fail. You might have thought it was over, but the author of your story is still writing. There are times when God must empty your hands before He can fill them again. You can't receive new blessings while still gripping the old ones. That's why release is an act of faith. When you let go, you're saying, "God, I trust your plan more than I trust my understanding." And when you do that, heaven moves. What left your life begins its journey back, purified, elevated, and perfectly aligned with your purpose. God says, "Do not look back with regret. Look forward with expectation. I am bringing you to a place where your past pain will make sense. You will see that I never abandoned you, I was carrying you through preparation." You are being positioned for a divine return. The things you lost, peace, joy, direction, relationships, confidence, opportunities, are being restored in ways your mind cannot yet comprehend. God is orchestrating connections, opening doors, and preparing hearts. What you thought was forgotten has been remembered in heaven. What you thought was over is about to begin again. And this time, it will not slip through your fingers. This time, it will be protected by grace. The same God who allowed it to leave will ensure it stays when it returns. You will walk in a new level of faith, gratitude, and strength. You will no longer chase blessings, blessings will chase you. Because now, you understand the rhythm of divine restoration, that what leaves under His will always returns better under His grace. So breathe in peace and breathe out fear. You are standing at the threshold of a turnaround. The night is nearly over. The dawn is breaking. What you lost is on its way home, and it's carrying miracles with it. The Father is whispering now, "Do not cry over the closed door, child. I have unlocked another one." The same hands that closed one chapter are writing the next. Something you lost is about to return in a way you never expected, not to repeat your past, but to redeem it.